rest in the presence and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Suryakoti Samabhava Nirvigyam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Suklam Bhadram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadaram Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye Sarvavignyopashankam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means community of truth. So wherever you have two or more people who are seeking truth come together to share their journeys, you have a satsang. A simpler word would just be spiritual community. Such an important part of our path is to share our journeys with one another, with others who are awakening and awakened, share our challenges, share our breakthroughs, our victories and insights. Just when we come together and share the presence that our coming together opens the door to, where our strength is multiplied exponentially. So, welcome tonight. We share throughout these webcasts the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is a transmission of divine grace, love, light, enlightened consciousness that brings about awakening and the flowering of the heart. This was a gift that I'm sure has been around forever, but this particular form of blessing, of energy transfer, the Divine shared with Suzanne and me almost 8 years ago now. And we've been involved with various forms of blessing and Diksha and Shaktipat and from different traditions, Reiki, for for decades. And they're all very beautiful. All of the great mystical traditions have something, if you can find it, where there's a transmission of enlightened consciousness, which dramatically speeds up the journey of awakening. We live at a great time now on planet Earth. Well, you may not think so, but there are more awakening and awakened people on Earth today than there ever have been. And the more of us that awaken, the easier it gets, and when enough of us become awakened, the collective consciousness itself will shift from a world rooted in competition, conflict, and violence to a whole new world, which is founded upon cooperation, harmony, and peace. That new earth can only happen through awakening and the flowering of the heart. Politics won't do it. Philosophy won't do it. Religion won't do it. Genuine spirituality, though, is awakening to our true nature and the flowering of our hearts. That's the purpose of the Flowering Heart Blessing. The Divine said, this does not belong to any master or guru or saint or avatar. Doesn't belong to you and Suzanne, belongs to me, and I give it to whomever I please as a gift of grace. Grace means it's a free gift, so don't charge for it. The Divine said that just to let people know that it is a gift directly from the Divine itself, and that it is freely given. It supports whatever path or tradition you're following. And the Divine said, tell people also that if they want to share this blessing, once they've received it, just once, they're initiated to be able to pass it on. All you have to do is invite the Divine to pour the Flowering Heart Blessing through you and direct your attention, your intention, with compassion toward a person or persons at a distance, in prayer or meditation, or someone that is physically present with you with their informed consent that this blessing is going to begin to speed things up and catalyze the process of awakening. So it's not to be taken lightly. That's why it's important, if you're giving it by the laying on of hands, that you explain it just a little bit first and get the person's consent and agreement. If you need to know more about it, go to our website, floweringheart.org. There's a 36-minute initiation video, which is really great. It's just really powerful. Just sometimes we go back and listen to it. It's only 36 minutes. We did it, but we're so zapped after we listen to it that it's fun. So all you need to do is get one friend or a couple of people together that are open to meditation, awakening, blessing, and you just go to our website and hit the play button on that video. Or you can download it to your computer and use it however you wish, but it's a great way to start a blessing circle in your own community. And if you're not a part of one that you're regularly participating in, we highly encourage it, because to be regularly involved in a circle of people who are giving and receiving the Flowering Heart Blessing will dramatically deepen and hasten your process of transformation. So we're glad you're here tonight. Please give us a like or a love if you're on Facebook. If you're on Vimeo, you have to enter something in the chat, say, hi, it's me. But we like to see who's dropped in, who's with us, and at the end of the broadcast, we go and we look and we give you special hugs and blessings. And many, many people watch. I mean, many times more people will watch and participate in this satsang after we're finished tonight, between now and next Monday, because their schedules or their time zones make it difficult for them to tune in when we're doing it live. But what we've learned over the years is that recordings, audio or video of spiritual transmissions carry that anointing, that unction, that presence forever. So someone could watch this recording 10 years from now and they would feel the energy and the presence that we're sharing tonight. It's a beautiful thing. So please join us in sharing the Flowering Heart Blessing. All you have to do is just ask the Divine to flow through you to all the other participants, those that are with us here tonight and those that will be tuning in during the week and, like I said, even 10 years from now. It's one of those things where you've heard it's more blessed to give than to receive. It's great to receive blessings, Dikshas, things like that, but it's even more of a blessing to give it. So do both. Give and receive. We like to open it at the beginning. I don't think we have any other announcements, do we? Nope. Yay, a calm week. We like to open it at this point to questions and answers about the spiritual journey, meditation, awakening, God realization, previous lives, afterlives, transcendent lives. Any questions you might have, or subjects where you'd like more light, more clarity, by asking, it will move the Divine to give all of us light and inspiration, and so it helps everybody that participates in the satsang. So look inside and ask, is there something you've been puzzling over? Maybe it's a challenge or a wall you've run into. Maybe you've just had an amazing awakening breakthrough. Just, if you would, share it, especially questions. It sort of fuels the satsangs for us. The Divine likes it. Hey, More, good to see you. It's been a while. More is our friend from Venezuela who's now living in Bogota, Colombia. And we love South America. Half of our family is rooted in South America, and I lived in Bolivia and I just love the high Andes. Well, I love all of South America. Colombia is so beautiful. And the high Andes are magic. They just really are. And they're as high as the Himalayas and very mystically powerful. So great to have you joining us tonight. And while I'm waiting for those questions to just come pouring in, I'm going to read, I've been reading each week quotes from famous people, if you know who they are, otherwise unknown people who have notoriety, from a website called inspiringquotes.com. And there are wonderful quotes and articles, brief articles that have been put together on so many spiritual topics. This one on the quotes about from Native Americans was written by Darren Orff, who lives in Portland, Oregon, and has 2 cats and writes about science, technology, nature, and history. So thank you, Darren, for these quotes. And the point here is to celebrate Native American heritage. Now you may go, but I live in Europe. I live in Asia. I live in South America. Great. They're indigenous people everywhere. And interestingly, a lot of the great, spiritual movements in different countries were built upon the indigenous spirituality of the people. For instance, Chan Buddhism, which became Zen in Japan. Chan Buddhism was built on the foundation of Taoism, which is the indigenous spirituality, a really shamanic spirituality of China. And in Japan, built very much on the foundation of Shinto. And Shinto is the indigenous shamanic spirituality of Japan. Tibetan Buddhism, which is such a powerful force in the spiritual world, was built upon the foundation of the Bon religion, which was the indigenous shamanism of Tibet before Buddhism was brought. And so it is. The Christian tradition, when it was planted many different places in the world, didn't just erase local spirituality, but built upon it. So you see many elements of Druidic and Celtic spirituality in the Catholicism of Ireland and Western Europe. And I could go on and on with that. But the point is that we should celebrate the native, indigenous traditions of the people on whose lands we're living. So I'm going to read this brief paragraph and dive into these quotes. Indigenous culture and wisdom flourish in every facet of American society. Some sayings from famous leaders such as Tecumseh and Crazy Horse echo down through the ages, while modern artists, athletes, and astronauts add their own voices to a growing chorus. These 13 quotes from notable Native American figures throughout history exhibit the unique insight of these first peoples and celebrate their indispensable role in the story of America. Here's the first quote. Sorrow eats time. Be patient. Time eats sorrow. This was from Louise Erdrich, member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians and author of the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel The Night Watchman. You may remember the title. The next quote, when it comes to your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with the fear of death, so that when their time comes they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. Shawnee Chief Tecumseh, leader of the Native American forces during the War of 1812. The next one. The Holy Land is everywhere. Black Elk, medicine man of the Oglala Lakota people and relative of Crazy Horse. Next, as long as you remember what you have seen, then nothing is gone. As long as you remember it is part of this story we have together. Leslie Marmon Silko, member of the Laguna Pueblo and author of several works of poetry and prose, including her most famous work, the 1977 novel, Ceremony. What you see on the surface is never the same again once you begin to plumb the depths. Johnny Quick to See Smith, visual artist and member of the Salish and Kootenai tribes, and forgive me if I mispronounced it because I don't know how to pronounce those names. Remember, You are this universe, and this universe is you. Joy Harjo, Muskogee, musician, poet, and author, and the first Native American U.S. Poet Laureate. I do not think the measure of a civilization is how tall its buildings of concrete are, but rather how well its people have learned to relate to their environment and fellow man. Sun Bear, Chippewa teacher, healer, and author of 9 books. We are fortunate to inhabit this jewel in the cosmos, and it is our responsibility to take care of it. John B. Harrington, member of the Chickasaw Nation and the first Native American astronaut in space. Use your own unique perspective and try to contribute and not just consume. Nicholas Galanin, Tlingit, and I cannot pronounce, Unaga, artist? Hope I didn't completely butcher that. Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Duwamish Chief Siahi, namesake of the Seattle, Washington. Very often, you are in the right place at the right time, but you don't know it. Maria Tallchief, member of the Osage Nation and one of the all-time greatest American ballerinas. You have to look deeper, way below the anger, the hurt, the hate, the jealousy, the self-pity, way down deeper where the dreams lie. Find your dream. It's the pursuit of the dream that heals you. Billy Mills, member of the Oglala Lakota and U.S. Olympic gold medalist in track and field. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, and I am at that place within me, we shall be one. Crazy Horse, Lakota leader of the Oglala Band and victorious commander at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Wow. Which I think humbled General Custer. That's so contemporary. I mean, tonight we're doing the light meditation, open eyes, and it's all about the light within the eyes. And we talk about the fact that we are not just a spark of the ocean of divine light, we are the entire ocean of divine light contained within a drop. The entire universe is within us. I salute the light within your eyes where the whole universe dwells. For when you're at that center within you and I'm at that place within me, we shall be one. And there shall be peace. And that's what it's going to take to have peace on this planet. That's why awakening is essential to that light that shines from the divine source within through our eyes. And meet one another's eyes in awakening. When the scales and the veils are removed, we look into each other's eyes and we see ourselves looking back at us through the eyes of the other, because there's only one universe, one love, one consciousness that is manifesting through all of us as all of us. And we are one. Wow, Crazy Horse said that.
I know.
Isn't that cool?
That's one of the things I really love about these quotes is like when you read who they're from, it could go back, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 500 years. But truth is truth, and it's still all relevant today.
Absolutely. And such deep feeling and empathy and compassion through those quotes. When the indigenous people, the Native American people, have been so abused through time since Europeans arrived here. Without rehearsing all of that, I think we all know that, and even if you're living in another country, you probably know it. And to see that statement about the light from the universe within and how it brings us together in oneness, from Crazy Horse, who was a great warrior that fought the white man, and the European people that established the United States of America made so many treaties with the Native American people and broke, as far as I know, I'm not an expert, but I think we broke most of them. I say we because I didn't do it and I wouldn't do it, but my ancestors did, and many of our ancestors did. So in the realm of karma, we bear the karma of our ancestors, and we have to bring healing and rectify what we bring to the here and now from our ancestral traditions. Because everything we are and everything we have is the fruit of their labors. So I'm not in any way trying to demean our ancestors. Many of them became friends of the Native American people. And they themselves just went out in the wilderness and lived off the land and would not have survived. Those settlers that came over on the Mayflower, the pilgrims. If the Native American people had not taken them in and fed them and helped them survive through that first winter, they wouldn't have survived. And I'm afraid, as it all played out, they were not fairly repaid. So now I think the least we can do to begin with is to look back and express gratitude, which we need to do with our ancestors too. It's not ancestor worship, it's ancestor respect, and it's connection, knowing that those beings upon whom our lives and fortunes are built, they still exist somewhere in some form in the universe, because they were spirit beings and still are. And part of the path of awakening involves remembering the ancestors and healing the ancestral tree.
I've also been contemplating a lot lately about our societies and how we've gotten so sterilized and so plastic and so we had a tomato that was going bad, and I was cutting it up to put it in the garbage disposal, and the seeds were sprouting inside. And I know a lot of people are into gardening, and I've heard lately that there's a resurgence in home gardens. But we go to the grocery store, we buy our vegetables, and then we chop them up and we throw the seeds away. And I was looking at these sprouted seeds, and I went out and just threw them in a pot, covered them a little bit with some soil, and now we've got these glorious, beautiful tomato plants growing. So and it's so funny because it's just something so basic, but going back to Native American traditions and how they lived on the lands and flowed with the seasons and knew how, and so did other people, because they didn't have grocery stores like that. People lived off the land, but how far away we've gotten from that, and herbal healing and a different way of approaching life. It's gotten so commercial and plastic and sterile that we need to get our hands dirty and plant. So I was chopping up some bell peppers the other day, and I saw these seeds, and I was getting ready to throw them in the garbage disposal, and this like flower inside of my heart, a seed inside of my heart, just opened up, because each seed is the potential of life. And so I'm excited to start planting more stuff. I've got a little herb garden growing now, but our grandbaby's getting old enough now that she can help me, and I can teach her that, and I can learn with her, and we can participate in this together. I think it'll be really fun. But just looking at the world in a different way, instead of just, picking up a vegetable and getting rid of what you don't want, but see the potential of life in every single little seed is pretty amazing. And it makes me think more about the Native Americans and how much they honor and value the earth and their rituals and their ceremonies to nature. And
what's that, the Indian 10 Commandments?
Yeah.
The last one is something like, I don't remember, but about like enjoy your path or whatever, but leave no footprints.
Yeah.
Something. But leave no footprints is the final statement. Like
Right.
live on the earth
Yeah.
so that we don't leave scars behind.
Right.
Ekaterina writes, La Virgen de Guadalupe is an example of the mixture of indigenous culture in Mexico and Catholicism. I think it is, but it's a miracle, and it's the Virgin of Guadalupe. The Virgin Mary is something else, but she has manifested herself through apparitions, appearances, and prophetic messages all over the world since the time of Christ. And some of the apparitions and the prophecies given were are amazing. Like she predicted that Russia, which at the time was the most holy Christian nation on the face of the earth, at the turn of the 19th century, early 1900s, which is the 20th century, Russia was an incredibly holy, mystical place. It was filled with these starets who are monks, hermit monks, that spend their time in contemplative prayer, constantly calling on the divine name in their hearts. Their path is called, in Greek, hesychasm. They live, which means cave of the heart. They live as hermits in the cave of the heart. Anyway, Mary said that Russia was about to fall into 70 years of darkness. Nobody really probably believed it and didn't understand how that could even happen. But sure enough, along came the Bolshevik Revolution, and Russia was plunged into 70 years of communism. And it was exactly the length of time, exactly when Mary said, and there have been many things like that may be more important than geopolitical announcements. But one of the appearances was in 1531 in Mexico. Talk about indigenous people being given a hard time. When the Spanish conquered the Aztec people and the Mayan people and established a Hispanic government in Mexico, the indigenous people were treated really treated badly. And they weren't Catholic unless they converted. They had their own native religions, and they were oppressed. In 1531, the Virgin Mary appeared to Saint Juan Diego. Juan Diego was a Mexican peasant, and she appeared to him and gave him a message to bring to the indigenous people of Mexico that they were beloved of God, that they were the children of God too, that they were beloved of Mary and Jesus and the divine, and he needed to tell the people that the God of these Spanish conquerors loved them tremendously. And he said, they'll never believe me. And she said, well, bring him this. And she manifested these amazing roses he was wearing a tunic, that were miraculously manifested. But what was really amazing is when he opened his tunic to pour out the roses, she had emblazed in his tunic an image of herself surrounded with this amazing aura. And it was in all the indigenous colors of the Mexican indigenous people. And it was just like a photographic print emblazed into his tunic. And when people saw that, they went, whoa, okay. That tunic is hanging on the wall of the church of, our Virgin of Guadalupe to this day, and you can go see it. But that was a big miracle. And so it was an important thing. And things like that have happened all over the world. The divine wants people to know that he loves everyone equally. She loves us all infinitely. And it's so sad when two peoples make war to destroy each other, and both of them are praying to God, and both of them are asking God to bless them to kill and slaughter their Christian enemies on the other side. And their bishops go out and give them, an apostolic blessing that's supposed to make it okay and give them God's favor to destroy the people on the other side that are doing exactly the same thing, praying to the same God and getting blessed by their bishops. And so it is when people of different religions war, when Muslims may war with Jews or with people, the Christian peoples, and vice versa. It's like the God of Israel, the God of Islam, and the God of Christianity all happen to be the God of Abraham, just one. They have different languages to name that one, but they all worship the same God and believe that they have the blessing and the mandate of their divine. I'm so looking forward to when this compassion and mercy that the Virgin of Guadalupe showed Juan Diego and the other people in Mexico, when that's universal and we all get it.
Should I go get the Indian 10 Commandments? You could read them.
Well, okay.
Be kind of fun.
We have another question.
Oh, okay.
And the time.
Right.
So we might read it another time when we run out of quotes. Ekaterina says, people talk about demons with names, etc. I think we all are God. So how does the evil and demons and other stuff works? In a word, free will. You have
That's
been
2 words.
hyphenated, free will. We are all manifestations of one spirit. But in this dualistic world we live in, we are all spirit beings. Spirit beings who are given creativity and the power to choose. If we didn't have the power to choose, if we were simply forced to do God's will, there'd be no free will. We would essentially be puppets. There would be no freedom at all. And that's one of the differences between angels and humans. We're invited to choose, but choose carefully. That means, if it means anything at all, is that we can choose to make bad choices. We can choose to reject the leading of the divine spirit and follow our own greed and lusts and unresolved human appetites. And so that explains why humans, if we're all God, some of us can be so wicked and evil. It's a process where we get to learn over a period of time the painful truth that we will answer for all the choices we make and all the actions we take, that whatever goes out comes around, and whatever a person sows, they will reap many times over. We have to learn that through making mistakes. And then we have these, I think, unlimited, infinite opportunities to turn around and to turn to the light. But for many of us, that is a very long process. Okay, now, but we're not talking about humans on the wrong path. You talked about evil and demons. There are different understandings of demons. I mean, Islam has its own understanding of the jinn, but in the Christian tradition, demons are generally understood to be fallen angelic beings who chose to turn from the light, and have been consumed with their hunger, their appetites, all the negative emotional forces, and they, in the metaphysical teaching of Christianity, wreak havoc. They're the unseen forces that whisper suggestions into people's minds to do things they would never have dreamt of doing, that just seem inhuman because in fact they are.
Makes me think of like the ego, and
Well,
the need for, power and control and all of those things. And their will be done, not thy will be done. The higher will of the divine.
but again, ego is a human phenomenon of the
Right.
mind.
Right.
What are referred to as demons, well, I mean, in Jungian psychology, there are inner demons. They're like personalities and egos running around on the inside of us that are not nice. But those are parts of our human psyche. But in the spirit world, in the astral planes and even the celestial planes, there are fallen spirits that are not serving the divine will and are not friends of humanity. And so that's where all that stuff comes from. The best thing to do with them is turn on the light. Darkness is an absence of light. When you turn on the light, those little critters, they leave quick. They can't stand the light. The light is infinitely powerful, and evil, while it's such a destructive force in our world right now, and even in certain of the spirit planes, it's temporary. It's temporary and it is finite in power, even though sometimes darkness can just seem so overwhelming. Well, I mean, if we try to stand against it in our own strength, it is absolutely overpowering. When David stood before the giant Goliath with a stone and a sling and slew him, the giant was laughing at David as a 12-year-old boy. And he said, "You have the audacity," David said, "to come against me with your giant spear and your giant shield and all of your giantness. But I come against you in the name of the divine, and I will have your head." And the giant laughed, but the next thing, he was down. So the thing is, we can't stand against some of the dark force. Hopefully you won't have to, but most of us run into it sooner or later on the spiritual path at some point. We invoke the presence, the divine presence. We open to the light. We invoke the light. You come into a dark room, don't curse the darkness. Flip the light switch. Light a candle. And so that's the way it works. And that's probably enough. But how that works is, again, free will, leading to the point where all of our gross desires have been purified. And for some of us, it's purified in the fire of the adversity that we create by yielding to those impulses. And that's true of spirits as well. And in the end, I believe that all beings will be fully reconciled into oneness with divine source, because love is infinitely powerful. The power of the one is absolutely supreme over all of the little pieces of duality and division, which are, again, temporal. The divine is allowing it so that we can all learn and choose freely to surrender to our oneness. I think that does it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close our eyes and dive into our hearts and invoke the presence within your heart. The divine presence, the entire universe, as Crazy Horse said, dwells within you. All the light, all of existence is inside of you. The mind can't wrap around it, doesn't need to. It's there. Invite the divine presence to flood you with light. Invite the divine presence to awaken you into oneness, to enlighten you, to flood your heart with unconditional love, because this divine presence loves you unconditionally. No strings attached. No matter how hard you fall or how far you fall, this divine presence still loves you and yearns to bring you home. So let it. Allow the presence to awaken you, to embrace you, to draw you into oneness with your true nature, with your divine self. Just receive and drink in the flowering heart blessing of the divine presence. This awakening, this transformation includes releasing the painful emotional charges and programming in your soul, wrong desires, wrong thinking. The divine wants to clear your mind and to fill it with divinely inspired thoughts and feelings and ideas. It wants to heal your physical body. Allow the divine to heal you physically. It yearns to heal your relationships. Invite the presence to heal your relationships now. To make you an instrument of light in the world. All there is to do is receive, soak up and drink in the blessing. when you're ready, open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Just keep looking at least one of our eyes. As we dive into the light meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with divine light and love, grace, and it begins to flow through every pore of our being to you, especially through our eyes, which mystics have called the doorways of the soul. That light shines out through our eyes, into your eyes, going deep within you into your heart of hearts, causing the light of awakening, the flames of divine love to burn brighter and brighter. Just keep looking. meditate with us for a few more minutes as the grace we've received settles within. Keep meditating as long as it feels nice to you. And then, or even now, you could lie down in Shavasana. Find a comfortable place nearby, lie down on your back. Close your eyes, let your arms be loosely at your side, your palms open, turned upward, and just dissolve in gratitude in the presence. We love you very much. Know, until we meet again, the divine in us beholds the divine within you, and we bow to you.